Hey guys, Cross All Worlds with my friend David Peck, sitting in the seat of C. Baxter Kruger.
What is? Can we nickname this seat?
The glory seat, the holy, the Shekinah.
Yeah, you know what we could do? We could set up a contest.
Wait, fire! How'd I do it? Did I do it all right?
I'm not feeling it, Jason. I'm sorry.
Fire! There it is.
So we're back, and this
Come
is so. The audience is going to have to put up with us for, I think, about 8 episodes.
I know.
And I'm literally sitting in.
I know.
For Baxter. It's
and it's been good. We didn't talk about your socks on the last.
We didn't talk about my socks. I'm
episode.
A bit of a fan, and there's another contest, but in the making. Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. I'm a bit of a fan,
right?
And a bit of a product of the '80s, I suppose you could say. But for me, Beavis and Butthead. David Letterman was a huge fan of Beavis and Butthead.
That's what you said. I can see that.
I love it because within the absurdity of the animated narrative is this, in my opinion, brilliant critique of Western culture right across the board. There's a great scene in the film, in the Beavis and Butthead film, when they're both sitting there watching TV, watching MTV, which is what has been what's brought
the network
them up,
that was on.
Right.
Yep.
That's how they were raised.
Yeah.
That's where they got their stories from, and we're going to talk about stories today because you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to shine the light on you for the next few minutes, and
All
the
right.
audience is going to get to learn a little bit more about you. I'm looking forward to this, and for a lot of reasons. But they're sitting there watching a music video, commenting on it. If you haven't seen Beavis and Butthead, I'm not necessarily suggesting you go out and watch an episode, but
It's a lot of grunting, half laughs.
The television is stolen right from under their eyes. Somebody reaches in, grabs the TV, and on the wall is the image of the TV that's burned into the wall from the sun state, right?
Right.
And you just go, there it is, in a few frames.
Yeah.
It's just, this is how the West has come to know who they are.
Yeah.
Through television.
Through the
You're a storyteller.
Uh-huh.
You've written books. I'd love to know. I mean, we don't see a lot of business cards anymore, I suppose. But I'd love to know what your business card would read. So hang on a minute. Let me see. Let's just call you a storyteller. We've got podcaster, interviewer, pastor, preacher. We have and I've heard recently you've done commercials even, for crying out loud.
Right, we were talking about
what are you, the Marlboro Man over here? It's just,
and voiceovers.
Yeah. You're a screenplay writer.
Yeah.
You're an event manager. You have this podcast, Rethinking God with Tacos. How do you describe yourself at a party when say, hey, Jason, what do you do?
Normally I would, and I use this phrase for you as well, but I normally would, for the longest time, when I was asked that, my wife hated when I would do this, but I would just say, I'm a jack of all trades, because I knew people were always wanting to know how I paid the bills. And I also, had a painting company in Jackson, Mississippi, where we are. Until recently, my wife and I cleaned bathrooms and offices 5 nights a week, so I'm a janitor.
And at one point, it looked like you were going to play professional hockey, potentially.
In high school, I was AAA, thank you very much.
What did you play in your band? I mean, the list is a little ridiculous, Jason.
Guitar, and I'm a singer-songwriter.
They have medication for this, you know that, right?
But I used to say, yeah, they have medication for this. Just kidding. I would say I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. But I would say it in a demeaning way. I wouldn't, but for me, I looked at it as, who knows, I don't know what I am. Like my dad used to say, and he even really still does, and I told him he needs to stop it, but he would say, man, I wonder what I'm going to do when I grow up,
Oh, it's what I thought, bless your heart. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah. He's 71. I'm like, Dad, figure it out, man.
Soon.
Just for my sake, right? But I would say it, and it was a self-demeaning. My wife knew it, and so she hated that I'd say it. And then one day, just a few years ago, I was scrolling. I should have been writing, but I was scrolling through social media, and I saw the full quote, which is a Shakespeare, and it's actually "Jack of all trades, master of none, but oft time better than master of one." And I suddenly I feel chills now as I was like, oh, this is of course my Heavenly Father restoring even this up for me, because it actually is a phrase saying we want the guy that can do everything. That's like, it's actually not in all meant to be some sort of slur, but it's actually a good thing.
So it's not Pascal who wrote a ton about distraction.
Yeah.
That's not it for you. It's not about just being distracted. It might be from time to time. I mean, you dive in.
yeah,
As a podcaster, you've really rolled your sleeves up. You've got
David,
followers,
at the end of the day, I'm a right brain guy. I'm an artist at the end of the day, and my whole life has been passionate. Trust is my through line, which is what when I heard Paul Young say that a few years ago, I was like, that defines.
and it's how you find yourself here,
Yeah.
on the opposite side of this chair with Baxter,
Yeah.
right, in conversation today. Not so much,
Thanks to your invitation.
right?
Yeah,
But it's the through line.
but trust is the through line, and then I really am an artist first, meaning if all I could do was create with friends, that would be enough. Like when I left Bible college, I started a band, right? Like I couldn't make that the way that ministry had been described to me. It was so limiting. I couldn't make that suit fit. And so I started a band, and that was the first time on my own, I can go further back and look at my parents. We got kicked out of a church when I was a kid, but that was the first time that I got removed from the church. So I always had this relationship, because I went to the leadership. I was on staff, and I was the worship pastor for the youth, and I told them, we need some covering. We're going to be playing in the bars. And they didn't have any context for that. He literally said, you need to find another church, and which shocked me because I was on staff. So I was like, oh. So I never fit, but I was always had one foot trying to be connected to what I understood to be church, but I was always interested in how to tell the truest story.
Are you
like.
a seeker at the sort of beginning, middle, and end of the day? Like, is that what's driving all this?
What do you mean by it?
Yeah, I mean, do you wake up with a question on your mind? Because I sure do.
Yeah. I think I'm curious.
Yeah, you're curious.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess all artists are in a sense, aren't they?
Yeah, you're really good at this, man. You should do this more often.
It's just really hard to get paid doing this.
See, now that's the problem. That's the real problem.
Hey, what can you and I sell?
I've yet to get paid for any of this.
Yeah, we got to come together. We got to figure out what our widget is, what our thing is that's going to make us rich beyond our wildest
You're asking me
dreams.
questions I've only contemplated a little bit. Yeah, hold on. Thank you, Baxter. For $1,000.
Hey guys, this is Baxter Kruger here. I'm with my friend Jason Clark. We have an ongoing conversation about all things Trinitarian, about the real meaning of the death of Jesus, practical side of living the Christian life in union with Jesus and in the union with us. And this is ongoing. It's been quite beautiful. We've got well over 60 or 70 episodes recorded so far, but welcome, come join us. Let's get to the conversation.
I remember the little vials of anointed oil that you could send away for, and I do say vial, V-I-L-E.
Yeah. My brother did a Tammy Faye spinoff when he dressed up at 13, all the makeup, and did a video of. Here's what of Tammy Faye, and then did a whole. We've got it. It's great. It's great.
It's out there.
Well, I don't know. We should put it out there.
We should put it out there.
He did Tammy Faye.
Maybe we're on to the next HBO series. I don't know.
I have been in pursuit of we talked about it. Baxter and I just had a conversation about growing sure in the love of God while trying to be fully Jason. And in the last 15 years, I've gotten my father's perspective on who I am. And let me tell this story. This is I've never told this.
It's
story.
not a long story.
Yeah, it's going to take all 17 minutes. But this is an interesting. I've never told this story. I don't think. 10 years ago, I was we'd started a family story, which is our ministry, and the heart behind that was to create media content catalytic for an encounter with the love of God. That's it. If we can create media, because I'm a creative, so that covers all of the areas, the playgrounds that I want to play in with friends? Can we create media content catalytic for an encounter with his affection, with his kindness? Because I'm convinced that every question that aches in the heart of humanity is answered in a greater revelation of his affection, of his love. And so we're doing this. I just stepped away from being on staff at a church. We call it a family story because if it isn't family, it isn't kingdom. It isn't what he's doing. And I get a phone call from the school, or from a church, the flagship church that's connected to the school that I graduated from. My grandparents are the first graduating class. They met there. My parents met there, and I met my wife there. Got a lot of history there. There's 2 buildings on that campus named after my family. I got a lot of history, and they invite me to candidate for the lead pastor position of this church. And this is the lead church. You'd be on the board of the fellowship, which is over their missionaries. You'd be on the board of the school, and you'd be on the board of all of their churches, which they had about 400 churches around the world. It was a significant invitation. And I was in a season where, and still am, where God was asking me, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And I would say, I would always answer with whatever you want to give me. And one day he was frustrated. He's like, Jason, that's wonderful, but if your son kept doing that, you'd be frustrated with him. What do you want? So that's the question. I get this invitation to candidate, and I candidate for it. My wife and I think about it, and we go, this has to be God. I have prophets calling me saying, this is God's plan for your life. All of the words that I got before, and I start to think, okay, and I have one foot out the door. I think this has got to be it. I get a call one day, hey, we've gone in a different direction. And I'm disappointed, confused mostly. And so I go for a run, and this is a good story. I promise. I'm gonna land it. I go for a run, and I asked Heavenly Father, what was that about? I don't get anything. And so I re-engage in life, because when you get the offer, you start to leave. And so it actually took 6 months to re-engage back in life and go, okay, this is what we're doing, and let's launch a family story. And then 6 months later, I have a reason that I have to go up north. So I find myself on campus, and I go out for a run. I have an aunt on campus, so we're staying in her place, and Karen's at the house at her apartment with the kids. I go for a run, and I'm running through the campus, and I see the big campus building. And I hear my Heavenly Father say, do you want this? And it was really a weird question, because I was like, what are you doing? Like 6 months ago, he said, do you want this? And before I could think, I realized he's not asking, are you willing to do this? He's asking, do you want to do this? Because I'd already settled. I'd already answered the question 6 months ago, I'm willing to do this. And so he said, do you want this? And I said, nah, this isn't it. And he said, finally. That's what he said to me. He said, finally. And I felt this liberty wash over me, because up till that point, I had been trying to fit within the institution. I've been trying, and this orphan, trying to constantly fit in the institution. And so for the last 10 years, and this will lead to, I think, the film stuff that we're doing, I have been discovering who Jason is without the box of the institutional model of what ministry looks like. Because I love theology. I love diving into understanding who he is and who we are. Obviously, that's what we do here, and that's what we do in our podcast. And I've written, you don't write books about it if you don't care. But I've been learning how to be fully Jason, and it's fully Jason outside of the institute. By the way, I'm not suggesting that wouldn't have been a beautiful thing. It's just he knows me better than I know myself, and it wasn't the thing that really would have burned in me to be a pastor at that church, which is a wonderful thing. It just wasn't. And so I got set free 10 years ago, and here we are. And right now I get to do this with Baxter and with amazing folks, and then you get to add to that things that I got to do that bring me great life creatively that I wouldn't be doing if I were the senior pastor of a church connected to all of these things. And we have a film company that most folks don't know about that we're...
I want to talk about that for sure as well.
So it was only a 10-minute story.
It was exhausting.
I could feel it. I could tell.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I was like, stay with
Oh,
me.
I'm done.
I've never
Yeah,
told this
yeah.
story before, but I'll get better at it.
So you know what I love about the story? The best part for me of the whole story
You
is
didn't have to talk.
well but that you had prophets calling you. That's my favorite part of your
And
story. I've
most
never had
of
a
them,
prophet call
most
call
of
me to
them
my
didn't call
knowledge.
me to say, "Oops, I got it wrong." There was one who was like, "Sorry, man, I'm so sorry about that." The rest of them were just like,
It's
a good
like when
point.
you see a mentalist perform, and I've seen a few. They ask you your name before they go into the routine, and I've always found that really interesting. If you were a really good mentalist,
You'd know
probably
my
already know
name.
my name. But then they go on to this big elongated kind of routine about how they're going to read your mind and somebody else's mind.
Right.
Anyway, it's kind of interesting. So story, so clearly story. I mean, there's lots of threads, right? I love that. We talked about it in kind of, I guess you could say, episode 1 of my
Yeah,
couple month tenure here
Yeah.
across all worlds. But you pull a thread here and you'll find it's connected to everywhere else.
Yeah.
It sounds like that for your life too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think it's for all of our lives, but it's been a little more intentional, even though maybe at the time it looked like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
And you're kind of at that phase now, even with where you're heading with film and with screenplays and your production company.
Yeah.
Because it's a crazy business. Let's
It
be
is.
honest,
It
right?
is, yeah.
It really is. But at the core is story.
Yeah.
So what is
Yeah.
it? What is it? Is it about the narrative? Do you like stories that resolve? Is that what you're looking for? Resolution? Like what's at the core for you here?
Well, yeah, I am a happily ever after.
Oh, are
guy.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've certainly heard you say that before,
yeah.
and you've used that in a
We have
variety of ways.
One of the films that we're hoping to make in the coming year is about the reforming of a family after the kids lose their parents, and beautiful story, and it actually, as painful as it sounds, a lot of fun too, a lot of laughter in it. But there's a line in it where one of the main characters says, "If it isn't happily ever after, it isn't the end of the story." And that is a lot of fun for me, because that is the gospel that I know, is that he's in the restoration business, and so if we aren't actually in the moment of restoration, then it isn't over yet. Like that's the through line of trust that it's fun to be able to. And by the way, it happened naturally. It wasn't like I said, let's go write a story and make sure that it has Union at its center. It's just that Union is at my center. And so as we're telling the story, you find that that's woven into the story. But yeah, man, telling a good story is life-giving for me. And I think, whoever tells the story gets to define the culture. I mean, it's been told by the wrong people for a long time. It's been a hopeless story being told by those who have no idea of the never-ending, measureless, never-turning, no shadow-turning love of God. And so I actually think, just as we are in a great awakening within the church, we're in a shift. And I know you can. There's lots of places you can point and go, I don't believe it. It's hard to see, but I think we're in a shift, even in how stories are going to be told and who gets to tell them in these coming days, and some of the ways in which our company has been built, and how the money is coming in and how the funding is happening, are God ideas. The partners that we're with who are disruptors in how they think, and it's wild because it's way outside my wheelhouse. Like, most of the time I sit in those meetings and just try and hang on and understand. But it's kind of a cool moment to be in.
It's a pretty amazing place to be in. It sounds like to me. So happily ever after you is connected to hope.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
In a sense, is that fair?
Just like you.
The hopeful cynic. That's on my business card, or at least it should be.
It should be, but it's the
Yeah.
truth, man. Yeah. Well, what I was talking with Baxter in the last episode that we just created, I don't know when it'll release on the timeline of these shows, but surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. is the happily ever after. And if that isn't the reality that we're experiencing right now, it is the invitation, destination, the ultimate reality that we will all, I believe, awaken to. So,
What do you think drives you to the next thing? What is it that's at the core that's saying so happily ever after? Some of the voiceovers you've done. I mean, sometimes it's just about paying bills, I suppose. Sometimes it's about the great artist. I think all artists just create because they have to. They can't not create, right?
Yeah.
But in your case, you want to tell the story. You want people to hear it.
Yeah.
You want to see a shift. It's Paul Young. We had a conversation with him recently.
Yeah.
He likes to talk about the ripple effect. I do too.
Yeah.
Right? You want to you're dropping a lot of a lot of pebbles in the pond.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's fun. And my wife, the other day, I was finishing a book, Rethinking God with Tacos, is now a book.
Soon to be available.
Yes, it might be available by the time this is out. And I was, when you have a project that you're up against the clock on, those last few weeks are ragged, you're burning the midnight oil. And I came in complaining about how exhausted I was. And I said, I can't wait till this is over. And she looked at me and said, don't worry, baby. There'll be another one.
Yeah. Do you know what Elizabeth says to me?
What's that?
It must be really exhausting to be you. And I get that same sense from you.
So yeah, I have to create, and I'm learning how to steward my time.
Yep.
But also, my brother had a life motto when he was 17, and I adopted it. And it works really well with a Gospel of Union. It works really well when there's no shadow of turning with him, because there's some wisdom and with age. But he had a motto: "Do it for the story." Mm. And so my brother I have some wild stories that wouldn't come close to topping some of my brother's stories, especially radical. He's got big angels, but it's essentially that you would position your heart with a yes. I think I talked about being a realist, or teetering dangerously close to being a pessimist or an unbeliever, if I could call it. And I made a decision years ago that I would live with a yes. So when a guy like David Peck calls, which was an obvious yes, but says, hey, what do you think about before you can get it out of your mouth? I'm like, dude, I'm in. Like, the idea for me, the thing that brings most life to me is can I create with friends?
Right.
That is, there's nothing better than creating with friends. And so do it for the story is something that is like, you want a lot of pebbles, because the reality is the only reason I'm going to get the opportunity to make movies is because every time my brother called with the opportunity, because he's the one that stewarded that. He's the one that was the pioneer in that area. And I pioneered in some writing areas, so I was ready with the skill set. But he would reach out and say, hey, can you help me write this screenplay? There's no money for it, but you know how many things, and you know how many rejection letters I have on my wall? I know you have.
Oh yeah.
I could paper my wall with rejection letters.
I had a professor who I came into his office one day at the University of Guelph. I was doing my master's degree in philosophy, and I was a little down about the fact that I hadn't been accepted into a conference. I'd written a paper, I'd written a concept note to send it, didn't get accepted. And he just stood up very quietly, and he reached over and he pulled the binder off the shelf, and he opened it up like this, and he spun it around, and it was every single rejection letter he'd ever received. Talk about hope.
Yeah, right.
And yet, tragedy sort of at the same time.
Right, yeah.
Tragedy might be strong, but
reality,
still, or sort of a sense of brokenness.
Right.
But he saw it as a way to leap forward and to leap into the next thing. We don't have a ton of time left, and this may not be a fair question at all, but do you think some of that drive comes from a sense of, can I say, insecurity? Or
it did once upon a time.
Or is it really rooted in a sense of joy and celebration and participation?
The first 35 years, and maybe don't count the first 10, my formative years, but yes, it was insecurity, desperation. Those were the things that drove me.
Fill in the God-shaped hole.
Yeah, the great shift, and I talk about it enough that anybody who's watched anything probably has heard the story too many times for me to, and we don't have enough time, but the great shift.
We don't have time for another long story, Jason.
No, my goodness. the greatest shift in my life was at 35, 36. And it was the awakening to a father who didn't look away, is stepping into union and a conviction around this Trinitarian faith, even though I wouldn't have had the language for it at the time. And the most beautiful thing about that was that he literally said insecurity is a legal activity for a son to participate in. And he wasn't saying it was illegal for me to feel it. He was saying that I was no longer allowed to entertain it, so that it became a marker in my life. Whenever insecurity showed up, I stopped, said, Father, show me who you are in light of Jesus, and show me how you see me. And I won't move from this spot until I'm convinced that you're good, as Jesus revealed. And then I won't move from this spot until I'm convinced that I am walking in your light, that I am a walking expression of who you are. And so insecurity is something that I no longer is it might occasionally haunt me like a ghost, but I know I flick it off my shoulder really quick.
So it's participation.
It's participation.
It's relationship. It's
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
It's a you want to embrace.
Yeah.
Right. You want to bring others in along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's an amazing thing, and I think it's going to change. Well, it has changed how you do what you do.
Yeah.
It seems to me. So what's the name in the new book?
Rethinking God with Tacos.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, named after the
It is
podcast.
named-
Rethinking God
it
with
is-
Tacos, reclaiming the gospel of love, I believe is the
And it's kind of a collection of thoughts and insights and observations
Yeah.
based on a series of interviews.
a
Correct.
series of interviews from the podcast. Baxter
Nice.
opens up chapter 1 because he is the GOAT, sets the table for where
Right.
we're going to go.
Nice.
Then we have awesome people like John Crowder and
How often-
just highlighting folks that we've had on.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
Paul
going to be
Golf.
available
Yeah.
on your site. How often do you get phone calls from prophets? And it's probably unfair to ask
Hold
you
on.
that. That'll have
No,
to be
no,
for
no.
the
My
next,
phone's ringing right now. We got to
phone's
go.
ringing right now. That'll have to be for the next episode of CrossAllWorlds.org. Thanks for joining us. You've been introduced to this guy many times before, but hopefully you've learned a thing or two, because I know I have. Thanks for joining us.
Love you, man.
Across all worlds, he came for us. We